Hello, folks. Welcome to the Solar Fit Renewable Energy Show. Bill Gallagher back with you again. Want to give a shout out to our friends at Daytona Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram for their loyal support through the year. And man, we just came off the Daytona race, and Daniel was doing great until about the last few laps and got caught up in a wreck, as will happen at Daytona. But as you're probably aware, he's carrying the NASCAR colors, the Race to Stop Suicide, and the Solar Fit colors across America to help people become more aware of the suicide crisis. Anyway, we've got a very, very important guest with us today is Mr. Blair Reynolds, who is the director with Bila Products. Blair, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Bill.
This is exciting. I was doing a little bit background on your company and you, and man, it's impressive. I started reading all your credentials, and I said, that there's a fellow who knows what he's doing.
Well, thank you for assuming that. We'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Oh, geez. Well, tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I've been in the solar industry for a little over 18 years now, mostly working in the United States. I started off selling solar over a kitchen table, right, and have kind of just worked my way up into the product side of the business. It's interesting. In 2009, I joined Sharp Electronics, who at the time was one of the largest manufacturers of solar modules in the world. And they had a factory in the U.S. It was in Memphis, Tennessee. And we were cranking out 208-watt panels from that factory at that time. And, as you may know, if you've been following the industry for some time, we went through a phase where most of the manufacturing of solar modules, at least in the United States, sort of went away. And, it's been really nice to see this resurgence coming back into the country, bringing more jobs and continuing to create innovation in our industry. And yeah, that's really what compels me. The solar, I've worked on batteries and inverters and everything like that, but the solar cell in particular is really where the magic all happens. And I'm fascinated by that technology. And my background is actually in semiconductor physics. So I really do, enjoy really getting deep into the weeds of the how this technology actually works and can be enhanced and improved over time. And since I've been with Bila Solar, it's been a great career decision, because this company really is focused on innovation and building domestic content solar products in the United States. And so it's been a nice sort of full circle in my career to come back to a job where I really am making a difference in helping create high quality solar products and jobs here in the United States.
Well, believe it or not, we have installed lots and lots of 208 Sharp modules back in the day.
Yes,
I never really thought that they would leave the marketplace. That was just such a wonderful product. Are they still creating them offshore somewhere, or are they out of the market entirely?
They're not out of the market entirely, but they're definitely focused on their domestic market, which is Japan.
Right. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, we're so excited to see you guys, ramping up production here in the United States. Obviously, we've needed it for some time, and we had a real shot in the arm over the last couple of years, and things were ramping up at a pretty rapid pace. And, I understand you guys are still going full board. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Maybe you can see behind me, this is in my background. This is a picture of our factory, an aerial photo of our factory right behind me. And you can see just how close it is to downtown Indianapolis. In fact, that's the Lucas Oil Stadium sort of hovering over my head at the moment, where the Colts play. And so you can see, we really are, right there in the city. And Indianapolis is really just a neat place geographically, because it really is such a crossroads. Quite a few interstates pass through the city. And so again, from a logistics standpoint, it really makes a lot of sense to be manufacturing product here, because we can, really, ship them anywhere in the U.S. In just a day or two.
Yeah, it's really the heartland. And of course, if there's any racing fans out there, everyone understands the Indianapolis 500. It's the big one.
Of course.
We go out there a couple times a year to the races, and it's just fantastic. And the people out there are just wonderful people. Midwesterns are they're their own type of people, man. You got to love them.
I couldn't agree more, Bill.
Feel like cities. So what do you do for recreation out there?
Well, yeah, you said it. I mean, enjoying the outdoors, enjoying the sports scene. Indianapolis has an incredible sports scene, and we've been very fortunate, particularly in the basketball over the last couple of years. Not only on with the Pacers on the NBA going to the finals this last year, but the WNBA. You know, our star is the city is Caitlin Clark on the team. So it's been really, really fantastic watching her perform professionally at just the highest level. So yeah, really enjoy the sports scene.
Yeah, we love Indianapolis and everything. You know, maybe if you wouldn't mind going into a little detail about the solar cell specifically. A lot of people are listening on a weekly basis, but a lot of people are unaware of the magic of solar. Talk a little bit about the solar cell.
Yeah, sure. I mean, so the monocrystalline is the cell that we use. So it's a single junction crystalline silicon solar cell. So basically, we take a wafer which has a charge already embedded on it, and then through the manufacturing process, turning that wafer into a cell, we embed an opposite layer of charge on the surface of that solar cell. And so essentially, what we've done is we created a little magnet, if you want to think about it that way, where there's a positive side and a negative side. And what that difference in charge does is it wants to encourage electrons to move from one surface of the cell to the other surface. And in order to get those electrons, we simply have to, and get them free and loose and moving around, we simply just have to put that solar cell outdoors under the sunlight. And the photons from the sun actually knock the electrons loose from their normal crystallized lattice structure. They knock them loose. So now they become free charge carriers, and they can actually move through that material from the top side of the solar cell, where they are impacted by the light, to the back side of the solar cell, where we then collect them and use them for making DC current. And then, of course, we connect to an inverter, and we convert that current into alternating current, so it interfaces with the electricity grid in your home. But yeah, fundamentally that's what's happening. If you think about the classic, anatomy of an atom, where you have the nucleus and these electrons sort of orbiting around, that photon is knocking those electrons free, knocking them loose, and then that charge difference in between in the solar cell design allows them to move across from one surface to another, and moving electrons is current.
What an excellent description. That is excellent. So anybody listening out there, I hope you're taking notes. There's going to be a test after this, right? No, that is so cool. So you said it really cool stuff, like we got direct current. We can't really use that in the home, so we have an inverter, changes that to alternating current, okay? And then those electrons go directly into either a residential or a commercial home setting, and we're off to the races, right?
That's right.
So talk a little bit about sizing, right? So let's take a home system, just a regular home system, and somebody's got say a $200 electric bill, or somebody's got a $400 electric bill, which incidentally, a $200 electric bill is going to turn into a $400 electric bill without too much problems, right? Okay. Yeah. So you're able to design systems based on the size of the solar module to help offset whatever amount, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it has a lot to do with the availability of the sun, obviously the layout of the roof and these sorts of things, if that's where we're putting it. In terms of the economics, what we've seen in terms of reform to net metering over the last decade or so is more and more we're seeing the cost of electricity adjusting based on the time of day. And this is really meant to drive behavior in consumers, to incentivize people to use electricity when it's abundant, and to conserve electricity when it's scarce. But oftentimes, the great thing about solar is it's generating the most of its power, during the middle of the day, when your highest air conditioning loads, for example, that you see down in Florida, people are running the hottest part of the day. This is when you get the highest amount of solar output. So the technology really works very well for reducing the amount of load in a home. And then, of course, you have, many homes in a neighborhood. They're all generating at the same time, and it could really make a huge impact on the amount of overall demand on the electricity grid at any one time.
Yeah, and that's becoming more and more important from an economic standpoint for both residential land and commercial applications. Talk a little bit about your company specifically. What's unique about your company?
Yeah, so Bella Solar, we started manufacturing last year, and our first product that we launched is pretty unique, and it really sort of set the bar in terms of how we differentiate ourselves in the marketplace, which otherwise solar panels look fairly standard and common in design. So we launched a product last year called our BF series, which is an ultra lightweight solar module. And, just to put that into comparison, it weighs about 70% less than a typical glass-based solar module. Our 520 watt series weighs only 17 pounds, believe it or not. A traditional solar module of that power output would weigh close to 70 pounds. So it really is a substantially lighter weight product. And why did we do this, you might ask? It was really designed to help solar go on roofs that otherwise couldn't handle the weight, the structural loading that comes with conventional solar designs and solar mounting systems. Oftentimes people install solar on roofs with a ballasted type of mounting system where they actually use pavers or bricks to hold the equipment down onto the roof. And as you can imagine, that adds a lot of weight and structural load. So when you think about these giant warehouses like the one or the factory that you see behind me, oftentimes these roofs just simply weren't engineered for that additional amount of load. And so our BF series only adds about 0.8 pounds per square foot to the total roof loading. So it really was designed to help solve a very real problem, which many of the installers face, where they have to walk away from projects because a structural engineer says, no, this building just simply can't handle the additional weight of solar. So, how do we make that module? You might be curious. We actually form a composite polymer material here in our factory that was inspired from the aerospace industry. When you think about, for example, an airplane window, it has a lot of the same qualities that you would want in an encapsulation that goes around a solar cell. Not only is the airplane window lightweight, it's very, very good at transmitting light. It's very, very good at with UV resistance, and it's just a strong, durable material. And so we were inspired by that to develop a proprietary composite that we use to encapsulate our solar cells and make this glass-free, semi-flexible, ultralight solar module.
Whoa!
And that really set us on a path of continued, growth and innovation.
That is brilliant. That is so brilliant, and I think from a standpoint of raw materials, in a conventional solar module with aluminum and glass, of course, a lot of the weight's coming from there. If you have something like that, who came up with that idea? Was that Blair?
No, I wish I could take the credit for that. Our founder, who's been in the solar industry for over 2 decades, came up with this. It's his invention. This proprietary polymer composite. And so, fundamentally, we're different than many other solar companies because, the true art and craft behind our technology is a material science.
Jeez. Do you give factory tours?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'll be out tomorrow.
Come on out. We'll catch a race.
We'll have to come out there to check that out. I can't. We're up against the break time, folks. We're going to stay with us. We'll be right back. We'll talk with Blair some more and learn some more. We're right back with you.
Hi folks, Bill Gallagher with SolarFit here. Have you ever thought about utilizing solar power for your home or business? Well, there's never been a better time to plug into the sun and stop renting electricity. How would you like to let your roof start paying you each month? Give us a call at 445-7606. That's 445-7606, or visit us at solarfit.com and set yourself free.
SolarFit your life and set yourself free with the sun's free energy.
Hey folks, welcome back to the Solar Fit Renewable Energy Show. Bill Gallagher. I'm speaking with my friend, Mr. Blair Reynolds, who's a director of products of a very, very special company in Indianapolis, Indiana, one of the places we absolutely love. Blair, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Bill.
I learned so much on that first part. I mean, I'm already envisioning this product. I need to get a sample to put here in our showroom. People walk there. I won't tell them I invented it. I won't take credit for that. I'll say my friend Blair. No, what's the name of your company president, your owner?
Yeah, that's Dr. Zhengrong Shi.
Oh my gosh, wow! Well, congratulations. I think that's going to take off worldwide. What's new on the drawing board?
Yeah, so you may have seen we actually had a press release earlier this week. We've launched a glass-based solar module, a bifacial solar module, earlier this year. And that was largely in response to, the customers coming to us and saying, the ultralight product is pretty neat, but gosh, I've got, megawatts of large utility projects that I need to get deployed. And they love the fact that we're based here in Indiana and we can make a U.S. made solar module. And so what we set down this path to come up with, how can we make the most American solar module possible? And if you've been following the solar industry for the last decade or so, you may know that most of this innovation and leadership in America for manufacturing of renewable energy has gone away. And so our supply chain is really, really scattered, has been over the last few years, really, really scattered. And we're really aiming to change that. So we launched a product earlier this year with a U.S.-made solar cell. We have a partner down in South Carolina that's making our mono-PERC high-efficiency crystalline silicon solar cells. And we're one of only a really small number of companies that has access to U.S. solar cells. And why would you want that? Well, not only are you helping support our industry domestically, but under the IRA tax credit, there is an additional 10% bonus adder if you meet certain domestic content requirements in your project. And because our solar module is made in the U.S. with a U.S.-made solar cell, we can contribute a large portion to the domestic content requirements in a project. And thus, the owners of that project can claim higher tax credits as a result. So instead of the normal 30% ITC tax credit, it can be up to 40% ITC, which of course at the project level makes a huge amount of difference. And so now that we started on this path, earlier this week we announced a partnership with another domestic supplier of materials here in the United States, a company called Origami Solar. And they're actually making the solar frame here in the United States with steel instead of aluminum. And that's really quite an improvement, innovation all around. So why steel? You might be curious. Well, first of all, it's just a stronger material. It's far stronger, twice as strong, in fact, as aluminum. And so these panels that we're making, these solar modules we're making with the steel frame, can handle a much higher loading of snow and wind as a result. And they also have a very much lower carbon footprint than the aluminum that we would see in a normal solar frame. Most of those frames are coming from overseas, Southeast Asia in particular. And there's even a third benefit in that we've seen so much volatility in this last year with tariffs, particularly on metals. And so at the moment, we're faced with a 50% tariff on aluminum and steel coming from overseas into the United States. Well, we make steel here in the U.S., and so we partnered with a company that's buying U.S. steel and transforming it into the profile for a solar frame, and are helping us accomplish many goals as a result. We end up with a better product that's higher resistance, lower carbon footprint, and it creates a stability in our supply chain in addition to domestic content and more jobs.
Well, you guys are really on the cutting edge. You are the poster child for American ingenuity and development, and we applaud you for that because As we all know, a lot of the products have been coming from overseas, and that's slowly going to go away. And the people that are in the lead, such as you guys, you're going to dominate the industry because you're forward thinking, and this is where we want to be. You're too young, Blair. You're too young, but I can remember years ago when Indianapolis and Cincinnati and all these places were the Detroit were the largest producers manufacturing ever in the world, and that kind of went away. We kind of lost that. We need to get that back, and I think you guys are doing a heck of a job.
I appreciate that, Bill. Thank you.
Yeah. So what's next? Gosh darn.
Well, you may know that in 2 weeks' time, we're having a big trade show in the United States over in Las Vegas called RE Plus, and we're debuting a pretty neat product there at the show. I don't want to give too much away, but if you remember the history of our company and how I told you about, we have some proprietary materials that we can essentially engineer the glass out of the solar product. I'll give you a teaser. It has something to do with that, as well as our partnership that we just announced earlier this week.
Man, I can't wait to see you out there. We've been to every SPI. That takes you back a ways before RE Plus. We've been for everyone, and we usually do 8 or 10 interviews at the meeting room up there. And I'm going to make it my mission to come down to your booth and shake your hand and say, "Man, good job." And you're always welcome to come up and say hi to us too. RE Plus is beyond belief. I go back, thinking back at one of the first RE Pluses I went to SPI. It was almost entirely solar thermal. And there was like 2 or 3 solar electric people. Then we thought, well, I know what they're doing. It was just crazy. Now, it's entirely changed. I mean, the people that are coming in are financiers, business people from all over the world. It is just an unbelievable event.
I agree. It's just grown every year tremendously. Great.
Yeah, I'm trying to get away from the media room for a little bit so I can spend a little more time on the floor to visit you guys. But it's awesome. Yeah. What you have anything you're gonna spring out into, like the inverter or anything like that? Or are you gonna just stay right in the module lane, or what's your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a great question. We're laser focused on innovating around the solar module itself. So that really is our core competency, and that's really where we're going to stay.
Well, there's just really so few people that are able to specifically make the cells in America, like, and all the other material here. I mean, gosh, I would think that people from Washington will be flying out to your facility and doing interviews on a daily basis.
We do quite a few tours here.
How's the legislation out there? How they treat you?
It could be better.
Well, it's an interesting time we're going through, but I mean, really, when you think of the amount of solar power and actually wind and solar together that was added to the grid last year, it's unbelievable. When you think about it, 20 years ago, it would never be thought of. Now it's just an amazing thing. What's going to happen, in your view, as we start try to build data centers and AI and all that? What do you think is going to happen on the electrical front?
Well, solar and batteries. There really is no other reasonable, cost-effective solution to add more generation in such a short time period. Solar and batteries. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, they're saying that there's like a 5-year backlog on components for gas turbines and stuff like that, and I kind of scratch my head and go, well, what are we going to do in the meantime? We need to turn back and get back in line with the renewables. That's really where it is, and it doesn't have to be all renewables. It could be all energy, but it's got to be all something. And right,
I agree.
Yeah. See, well. This has really been a fun interview for me. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. Anything else that we should tell the public? I know one thing. You need to come out to Las Vegas and see us, right?
Yeah, come on and see me over in Las Vegas. I'll be at the Caesars Forum with representing Bill of Solar at our booth. Come on by.
Gosh darn. I know I will be by. the last, was it 2 years ago we were out there, it was a little bit disjointed, right? They were one spot, and then they had another spot, but I guess it's good for the legs.
No, they're doing something better this year. They actually built a bridge, a temporary bridge that's connecting the Venetian Hotel with the Caesars Forum. So it's going to be much, much easier to get back and forth.
You know, the size of these arenas, you'd think there's no way to fill it up. But, you know, 2 years ago, gosh, they filled up both things entirely.
That's right.
That's cool. Well, what's a good thing to do out there? Go to the Sphere? The Sphere?
I'm going to catch a show when I'm out there for sure.
I've never done that. Is that worth doing?
Yeah. It's the Cirque du Soleil is the best.
Cirque? Oh, geez, okay. Yeah. Well, have to limber up my joints for that one.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we're almost out of time. Blair, just want to give you an opportunity to tell people how to access more information about your company.
Yeah. BillisSolar.com. You can find our products there. Or reach out to your distributor and ask them if they're not already stocking our product. Why not? And come on out and see us at Las Vegas at RE Plus.
Any distributors you want to give a shout out to? Because we're going to be looking for the product as soon as I hang up with you here.
No, I can't play favorites. I love them all.
You love them all? Yeah. You know, we have some good ones here in Florida. They've really become partners in the industry. You know, they're all friendly, and we're all part of the Florida Solar Energy Industry Association. So we're all friends, and we just love this industry. You won't believe this. This is our 50th year, 50 years in this industry. So, well, wait, can you imagine what we've seen?
Yeah.
They used to call it the solar coaster.
Yep.
And I was telling somebody the other day that I was going to put a roll cage in my solar coaster because it gets crazier. Yeah. But it's almost in your blood, right? I mean, once you get involved in this industry and you see the magic of free energy, it just never goes away.
I completely agree.
You know, we do a lot of school events where we take solar panels and little fans and stuff and show the kids. You know, you put the solar module out there and the fan spin, and they put your hand over it. And the looks on their face is like, wow, is this real? How does that work?
It's the magic.
The magic of the sun. Yeah. Okay, Blair. Well, I guess we're almost out of time. I want to thank you so much for coming on, and continued success. And I will see you in about 2 weeks out in Las Vegas.
Thanks a lot, Bill. I had a lot of fun, too. Really look forward to seeing you in person.
Okay, folks, I'm going to sign off from now. It was great. I can't wait to get out there and spend some time with Blair and his crew. We're going to sign off for now, so have a good weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.